You know, up until like 2 or 3 days ago, I had never been to this part of Illinois. I'd only ever been to Chicago. I never realized how serious this state was about this guy. I mean, I always knew it was called the Land of Lincoln. It's on all the license plates. But here in Springfield, which is the capital, there are Lincolns everywhere. It's not just the statues and the museums and all the street signs and everything like that. I think the moment I realized how serious the Abraham Lincoln theme is here was yesterday when I was going into a local Walmart. I noticed that they actually have Abraham Lincoln quotes engraved onto the sides of all the walls. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. He's obviously an incredibly important figure in American history. I just didn't realize what I was getting myself into. I'll definitely have to make it a point to check out some of these museums and historical sites while I'm here in Springfield for the next couple of weeks. If the US government ever does away with the penny, I feel like they should try to pave a street or like a sidewalk or something out of pennies here in Springfield. I think that'd be pretty fitting. On the second thought, I'd actually be kind of surprised if they haven't already done something like that. So we gotta go on a little road trip. So I accidentally had an Amazon package sent to St. Louis, and at the time, like, well, I mean, it wasn't accidental, I think that's probably the wrong word, but I didn't really think it through as clearly as I probably should have. And it's like 100 miles from Springfield to St. Louis, and it's a really long trip to pick up one package. I mean, I'm gonna make an afternoon of it, hang out there for the evening, maybe even stay overnight there and drive back in the morning, but I have to be back tomorrow to this area to do some work. And I guess in theory the package is important, like I actually need it to do the work that I'm doing. It's filters for my drone that are gonna help in sunlight and stuff, so I guess that there's like value in going to pick it up, but it just really isn't the most efficient way of doing this. I probably could have figured out a better way. Unfortunately, the Amazon locker program just isn't quite 100% across the country yet. You know, it's in a lot of major cities, but when you get to the mid-size and small cities, a lot of the time they don't have them. So, like I said, I probably could have figured out a better way of doing this, maybe a UPS store location or having it sent to someone that I'm working with or something, but I didn't really think it through. I just kind of made an impulse decision, and now I get to drive 100 miles. Pretty long trip for such a small package. So these are, in fact, the wrong filters. I'm realizing now. They are for the Mavic Air, and I have the Mavic Pro. The company is called Polar Pro, and on the headline on Amazon it said DJI Mavic Polar Pro filters or something like that, so I assumed that it was for the Mavic Pro. It does say on there in the fine print that it's for the Mavic Air. I just must have misread it. I didn't look at it closely enough, so it's my mistake. I just got to figure out how to get it back in the mail and return it, and then try to make the most out of this trip to St. Louis. I wonder if it's gonna get sent back on the same UPS truck that delivered it a couple minutes ago. The UPS store was only a couple blocks away from the Amazon locker. I've just been exploring here in Forest Park a little bit. Really is a beautiful park. A lot of people suggested that I check it out, and I'd like to be able to spend more time here, but I'm getting pretty hungry. And I looked up some cheap restaurants in St. Louis, and there's a Korean Mexican fusion place not too far away from here, so I think I'm gonna go check that out. Okay, I gotta say it, that place was absolutely phenomenal. Like, I kind of expected it going in. I had looked up cheap eats St. Louis, and that was at the top of like pretty much every list that I saw. And I didn't really want like American food or barbecue or anything like that. I was in the mood for something different, and that was definitely different, but it was pretty unreal. I mean, they had tacos and burritos and nachos and all these like Mexican style things, but they were like founded on the flavors of bulgogi and Korean barbecue. So that bowl that I got had all the traditional Korean taste to it, but it also had some spices from like Mexican influence. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. It was just this amazing mixture of food, and maybe one of the best things I've ever eaten. So I ended up hanging out at a Starbucks for a couple of hours, getting caught up on some work, got some free samples. It was pretty nice. I was mostly just waiting for it to get dark because I wanted to walk around once the sun went down and get some shots like the arch lit up at night in the downtown area. I didn't know if the arch had lights or not. It does. They're a little different than I thought. I thought it was gonna look like Christmas lights, but it's still pretty cool looking. Actually, I don't think it has lights at all. I think it's just the way that it reflects light off the rest of the skyline. It is so awesome how it does that. And just when I thought this thing couldn't get any cooler. So it is 6:30 in the morning right now, and I gotta drive about an hour and 20 minutes to get to where I need to go to do some drone work later on this morning. I stayed at this rest area not too far outside of St. Louis last night. It's just off I-55, and when I pulled in, there was like nobody in the parking lot at midnight last night, so I was a little bit sketched out, but fortunately it worked out well. So a little bit more about this project that I've been working on here. I don't want to go into too much detail because it's still in the very early stages. They're still seeking funding, putting together pilot episodes, things like that. But it's essentially a documentary style series where they focus on the historical and travel aspects of Route 66. And the guy who's doing this, basically the guy who's hiring me, also owns a 1929 Ford Model A. And another big part of the show is that they're going to be traveling with this Model A all the way from Illinois out to California, out to Santa Monica along Route 66. So this morning we're meeting up and I'm gonna get some drone shots of the Model A going down some of the rural side roads out here in Illinois and some farmland in the background and everything. I'm looking forward to it. Here's a little glimpse of what we're doing. And I'm back in Springfield. Overall, I'd say the trip wasn't a complete waste. The title of this video is probably a little bit too dramatic. I mean, I never would have gone to St. Louis if I hadn't ordered that package, but at the same time, I got to have really good food and got to explore for a while and see a lot of cool things, and I would have never been able to do that if I hadn't ordered the package at all and hadn't gone all the way out there to get it. So it worked out in the end. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to y'all in the next video. So this morning we're getting together and we're gonna try to shoot some shots of